We will talk about what really going on with stereo instruments, in fact, versus what you can hear. All the cases to understand the physics behind the process. The difference between centered instrument and instrument in the center. Most people can mix clearly and widely, but very few people know how to put instruments in depth and how panorama participate in it. I'm gonna explain my crazy concept behind it. We're gonna talk about pros and cons of mono listening, and Chris Rodelji is not right about mono compatibility. He doesn't want to check mono compatibility because mixes can be narrower. I'm gonna show you a trick how to keep your instruments as wide as possible but still mono compatible. We're gonna learn how to control stereo field of any instrument today. The most crazy topic today, I'm gonna prove mathematically why not to widen your mix on the master bus. This topic will create crazy protest because everybody got used to this approach, but it's absolutely wrong. In the parallel topic, which is studio setup today, we're gonna be talking about where to place your table, to the shorter wall or to the longer wall. We're gonna be talking about positioning in the middle of the room, what's the problem with corners of your room, and very interesting topic if your ear should be at the level of the tweeter or in between woofer and tweeter. Something related to the phase and very narrow field of high frequencies coming from the tweeter. Hi guys, my name is AZ or Andrew. It's a free part or 10% of lesson 3 of one of the best audio production and music mixing courses. Each week I create one 100 minutes lesson which you can buy. On every Monday and Thursday Canada evening time, I release one free 10 minutes video, which is exact part of that full-blown lesson of that week. So basically 15% is for free. Subscribe, check the list of my videos and learn from those free videos, and use these free videos as an example what full-blown lessons you can buy, and do it each week. Read the description and the first pinned comment to understand how to buy this full-blown lesson number 3 or any other lesson, and for more details. In the first pinned comment find the link to the lesson 1, which is for free, also to a video about my credits, my history, a story about haters' attack on their controlled Reddit forum, how they deleted all supporting comments, first pinned comment and the description. I ask you to control your protest right now. I'm sure you're gonna be not happy to hear it. You heard opposite opinion for so many times. You almost don't want to fight with your own opinion because it's already part of your technique and your approach. Be open-minded, think outside the box, and I'm gonna prove mathematically everybody was doing this wrong. Let me explain. So the rule is don't widen the master bus. So don't widen the whole song. Crazy, right? Feel your protest. You right now, oh my god, what are you talking about? I'm gonna post some comment right now, what are you talking about? Every famous mixer doing it like this, who are you to talk like this, and stuff, right? You feel this protest. It's good, be open-minded, I'm gonna explain the point. We put this plugin on the master bus and we listen to the whole song. The lowest this Y dot went to 70% from 0 to 100. So if it's a scale from 0 to 100, it's 70%. We have a lot of room, additionally, like safe room, seems like we can widen it. Y dot, of course, will go down to 0, but it will not be mono incompatible, right? Because it shows above 0. This idea why we think our mix is narrow also comes from this vectorscope. Seems like this cloud not too wide, right? It's like narrow. You say, okay, fine, let's widen our mix on the master bus. Or 80% of widening effect. Y dot stays above 0 all the time, which means it's mono-compatible. Probably we're not gonna have any issue if we listen to this mix on a cell phone speaker in mono listening, right? So we widen our mix and happy days, right? You just spoiled one of synthesizers completely. The thing is, if you look at this synthesizer, I'm just gonna solo it. So obviously this plugin on the master bus affect any synthesizer in your mix. And now, if you listen to it in solo, you see that you completely made it out of phase. Left channel will kill the right channel. They will be partially out of phase. They will be sounding eventually quieter in the mix if you listen to in mono, on let's say on a cell phone speaker. And it will be even EQ'd incorrectly, like random EQing, which you never apply to the synthesizer. It's the same plugin from the master bus, I mean. It shows right now completely incorrect value for the synthesizer. Because I widen it too much, and for this synthesizer it's not needed. This synthesizer already was very wide, on the boundary of width, and we made it just literally too wide. Now its left side will kill the right side, which means it's a big problem. Why? Because first of all, you spent actually time on it. Don't you respect your time? You spent your time to mix the synthesizer. You made it properly EQ'd, you chose the tone, you made it properly put in volume in the mix, you spent a lot of time while you were mixing in stereo with this synthesizer. If it was something like vocal and supporting instrument, let's say this instrument, something like piano, something like guitar or piano, and this instrument, it's your lead vocal. It's very important why you set up those balances, because vocal tends to sound outside of the mix. It sounds amateur, homemade music if your vocal like completely a part of music. So your rhythm instrument very important. Your lead synthesizer or lead vocal just should be just a bit above your supporting instrument. If they're far away, it sounds kind of like amateur music. That's why we spend time to set up level and frequencies of this rhythm supporting, let's say, instrument for the vocal. It should be louder in the mix, it should be supporting that other synthesizer or some vocal, right? But it sounds fine only in stereo. Once you go to mono listening, just because of this instrument, this synthesizer indicates that it's mono incompatible like this. Y dot all the time below zero. It means your instrument will be quieter and with different EQs which you never applied to this synthesizer. So you will be completely confused why in mono listening your synthesizer sounds like completely like not like you did it. It's pretty sad if you spend time on it and then eventually it sounds completely not like you did it, you know what I mean? Then you ask me, but why then when we play the whole mix, it doesn't show this issue for us? Seems like if I play the whole mix with drums and that second synthesizer, lead synthesizer, it actually shows absolutely perfect values. It shows these perfect values just for only one reason. Because other instruments completely mono or very narrow. If you examine right now instruments, let's say like kick drum. Now if I play this mix with all those drums, these indications don't go away, they just stay, as well as indications of that synthesizer. That synthesizer already below zero, but this kick is so powerful and so overwhelming that it literally contributes to the indications even more than that synthesizer. That's why you absolutely have no idea what that synthesizer actually shows you, you know what I mean? Because this powerful, loud and clicky and punchy kick, literally the loudest part of the mix. If you're gonna have many instruments which are relatively narrow or mono, for example, this snare, mono, this hi-hat, mono, this lead synthesizer, which is narrow. Y dot, even with this 79% of widening, it still doesn't exceed zero and doesn't go below zero, which means even before this, it was very narrow. Y dot goes around 80%. You add up 79 and it doesn't spoil the synthesizer. It's loud, thick sounding synthesizer and it's definitely more sort of noticeable than that second synthesizer which we have problem with. It's not a problem, absolutely, it's fixable, you just need to do different thing, not widening your song on the master bus. And that one synthesizer which shows below zero's indications cannot be more powerful than all these other instruments which all above zero. It's like, if you want associative example, imagine you're a teacher in an elementary school and you have 30 students, kids, and they crazy, they running around like making noises, and one guy, 30th guy, sitting somewhere in the back and completely silent. Would you call the whole class with 30 students quiet class? This one quiet guy cannot overwhelm all these 29 loud guys, right? Some of your synthesizers will disappear from your mix because of listening in mono. It will not disappear from your mix, but it will not be as you mixed it, it will be just quieter a bit and with different EQs. Still there, big deal for you, because you not balanced your song in this way. Crazy, right? Absolutely. So now you're gonna say, so what I should do? So my suggestion is, check individual instruments to make sure that Y dot doesn't go below 0 on those. Instead of this one plugin on the master bus like this, you don't put over here any plugins. You go to each individual synthesizer, and if you want wider mix, you go, let's say, to this lead synthesizer. You put over here ozone imager. You widen it to make it wider. Sounds nice, sounds great, your mix will sound wide, this synthesizer will sound wider, but at least you don't touch this wide instrument, which is already nice, which is already wide, which is already good. You should not overwhelm this synthesizer. Its individual setup was like this, I didn't touch it. So 0 or a bit above 0, so it's nice wide stereo. Mono compatible, no problem in mono, no problem in stereo, sounds wide, sounds nice. Now I know your question. As I was teaching for 11 years, I know all potential questions you may ask. You can say, oh my god, it's crazy to go to each individual instrument and to control its width. You absolutely don't need to do it, I'm gonna tell you. Based on example which we already had. When you were here, with one plugin on the master bus which make everything wider, do you really believe you made all instruments wider? You cannot make mono instrument wider at all. It's impossible. Let me explain. When you made it 79% wider, you actually didn't widen. Neither hi-hat. So this is hi-hat. With this 79 extra percent of widening, it's still mono, narrow line, Y dot stuck to +1. So your 79% has no effect on the hi-hat. The same happens with the snare. The same happens with the kick. In this mix, bass was mono, so it didn't affect, this widening effect didn't affect your bass. So you fool yourself when you widen your master bass, you believe everything becomes wider. According to our rules, only stereo effect can be widened, because widening effect, what this thing does, it increases side channel in volume, encodes your signal instead of left and right to mid and side, and then it increases side channel to be more dominant, and that's why you see more wide stereo field. But at least you need to have this stereo field and side channel to widen anything. Kick drum, snare drum, and hi-hat, they absolutely don't have any stereo field. So for them, this movement have no effect at all. Really widened by this movement, those two synthesizers in this bit. One synthesizer you spoiled by this movement, because you made it too wide, and the first synthesizer, which is lead synthesizer, you widened to some extent, but you don't even know if you widened to how much, and if it's the maximum width you can allow yourself with mono compatibility. And 79% doesn't make that lead synthesizer perfect. If you would apply individual widening effect on that lead synthesizer, you would achieve actually wider and better stereo field. Check it out. You would have this. Look at this, with 100%, I can go 100% and Y dot still doesn't go below 0. See how crazy it is? So basically by my method, it allows you to achieve the best stereo width for each individual instrument. And master bus approach, which everybody uses, literally hides from you issues with stereo field on some instruments, and still they don't even widen those instruments properly to the extent you want, to the level, to the stereo width you want. And it cannot even widen those kick, snares, and other instruments if they are mono. So what's the point? For this mix, I can ignore kick and snare and hi-hat. I don't even need to check their stereo field, because those drums pretty always mono or a very narrow stereo. I can save time and not even check those instruments in their stereo field. I can ignore bass in the same way. I would go just for synthesizer 1 and for synthesizer 2. I would apply 2 plugins instead of 1 on the master bus. And I would achieve much better results. And full control, actually, of stereo field. Crazy, right? Instead, widen stereo instruments. That's it. You don't need to go to mono drums or mono bass or something. Just you have a couple of stereo instruments in your mix. You go there, you widen them to the level you want and you control, and that's it. The same rule goes for complex sounds. Check first pin comment and the description to find out how to buy any lesson, full lessons. Don't forget to check my channels twice a week, where I release free videos, parts of those lessons.